Various parts of Iraq, Mosul and surrounding areas are currently undergoing a modern-day Holocaust. Threatened by a radical group called ISIS, Iraqi Christians are living with nothing but faith. With the goal to end Christianity, ISIS destroyed valuable historical objects such as the Tomb of Jonah. They burned multiple churches down, such as a 1,800-year-old church in Mosul. There is no Mass in Mosul for the first time in 1,600 years. In addition to Christianity, they are also killing Christians. At a park in Mosul, ISIS militants beheaded children and then mounted their head on a stick. While children are being beheaded, mothers are being raped and killed, and fathers are being hung. These are crimes against humanity. Not to mention, ISIS forced Christians to either convert, pay taxes, leave with nothing, or die. They also trapped 40,000 Yazidis on a mountain where they are facing starvation, dehydration, and the threat of death. Obama has authorized airstrikes and aid drops for the Yazidis. ISIS is extremely powerful. In fact, ISIS makes around $1 to $2 million a day by selling oil and human trafficking. Time is passing while more Christians are being persecuted, and Christianity in Iraq is inevitably becoming extinct. All because Christians believe in God. Iraq is undergoing a brutal genocide, resulting with numerous heartbreaking stories. This is Rapid Yeldu from helpiraq.org, and a couple of questions to ask you about your experience on Iraq. First, I just want to know, when did you go?
I went to Iraq in November of 2014, and then I went back again in December of 2014 during Christmas time.
What parts of Iraq did you go to?
I went to northern Iraq. I went to two places, Erbil and the Dhok area. That's where most of the displaced Iraqi Christians.
What's your mission and goals when you
I just wanted to go and make sure that everything was being done properly and help us reach into the people that were most in need.
Can you describe your experience in Iraq?
It was really, really heartbreaking seeing a lot of people living in tents, cold conditions. For example, if it was raining, a lot of these tents and their belongings would get ruined by the mud and all the running water through there. Seeing kids not going to school, seeing kids running around in the mud, 5 to 6 to 7 people living in one tent, it was really, really heartbreaking. When I went there in November, a lot of people, fortunately, were being moved in what they call a caravan. A caravan it's like a boxed room out of aluminum, and they will put 4 to 7 people in this one room, and then they would have maybe anywhere between 20 to 100 of them together, and they would use joined things like kitchens, restrooms, showers. Sometimes you might have 100 people sharing one shower. And the conditions were really, really horrible. Excuse me, all these people were displaced based on their faith. They were forced either to convert or leave. And when they chose to leave, they left with nothing but the shirt on their back.
So you also visited the Yazidi community. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
The opportunity to interview a few girls. And the stories were really heartbreaking. A lot of these girls, the things that they told me, the things that they saw, 12 girls committing suicide. 2 sisters kept on failing to commit suicide, so they turned on each other and tried to kill each other to end their misery. They would put 60 girls in one room for 24 hours and not feed them anything, and telling them, because you're devil worshippers, this is your fate. And then all the higher-ups of the ISIS militia or the organization would come in and would take each one 10 girls, and God knows where they took them and what they did with them. And if the girls would cry or they would, show any kind of discomfort, they would beat them even more to get them to be quiet. they've really endured a lot of abuse. A lot of these girls are 12, 13 years old was the average. Some were as young as 9 years old. One of the women that escaped was telling me that she had a baby in her hand and they wanted to rape her, and she did not want to let go of the baby. So they took the baby, they executed the baby right in front of her eyes, and they ended up raping her anyways. And she still has a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old sister that are still captive. Each family, besides the girls that are captive, they've lost family members, dads, moms, either killed or still enslaved, and they were trying to get money or ransom for them. Another girl I was interviewing, and towards the end of the interview, one man walks in and she says, "That's my first cousin, and he's alone. He comes and visits us every day. His wife and 5 sisters are all captive. He has nobody." To make matters worse, 90% of, I should say even 100% of the Yazidis displaced, they all still live in tents. There are about 7 or 8 areas of tents, and each one has 4,000 tents in it, and one family per tent. I mean, these people have endured a lot. They're very simple, and the thing that I asked the girls, what is it that really hurt you the most? A lot of them were really upset that they couldn't finish their education. Their life has been turned upside down. Each single family has more than one tragic story, whether it's losing brothers, losing a mom, having 5 family members that they have no idea where they're at. There's a lot of kids, do we call them orphans? We don't know, because we don't know if their parents are dead or they're still captive. So a lot of heartbreaking stories. Another lady had to jump 3 stories to escape. She fractured her head, broke a lot of bones in her body, shot at, tried to run for Sinjar Mountain, and she made it. She was one of the few lucky ones. A lot of them didn't make it. A lot of them were killed. A lot of them were executed. A lot of them are forced rapes, forced temporary marriages, as they call it. This community has endured a lot because radical Islam sees them as devil worshippers, and they say you deserve everything that you have coming to you.
Blessed we are with all the food and clothing we had while there in the cold.
But the good thing is, it really has strengthened their faith, because leaving because of your faith, it makes you question. I expected a lot of them to be angry with God. To my surprise, they were not. The one moment I really cried over there, it wasn't seeing the kids in those conditions, or even the Yazidi girls. Going to a place where there's 140 families that we sponsored living in this place, and they were doing a prayer. And I'm like, how can you be doing a prayer in these conditions? You're supposed to be angry at God. You're supposed to be mad at the world. The world owes you everything. But these people were just humble, and they're clinging to their faith with humility. They are praying and thanking and praising God. That touched me the most out of anything.
After all the pain that we feel, and after all those wounds that never heal, after all those years and the tears that we cry, do you think you'll find a place to hide?